Well, thanks you guys for coming to this final session of our first day of CELT. Just want to remind you that on Friday, a series of brown bag lunches is planned for each of the different tracks. The technology conversation will happen 100A right next door on Friday afternoon during that lunch hour. You're welcome and invited to attend. But right now, I'd like to thank very much Jody Shepherd and Marc Langston from Meriam Library here to present on the ebook opportunities for your classes, what, why, and how.
Right. Thanks for coming, you guys. Yes, I'm Marc Langston. I'm the head of Collection Management and Technical Services Department in the Meriam Library, and basically what that means is I'm the person who's responsible for acquiring and making accessible all of the library materials that we have. Jody Shepherd is the newly appointed head of Reference Department. We're going to share the presentation today. I'm basically just going to explain to you our growing collections of ebooks and promote them as a affordable learning solution, which is kind of a hot topic on campus with the rising price of textbooks and our concern of the burden on students. Jody will then explain each of the different types of ebooks we have and some features about them and how they can be used in different ways, you know, in the classroom and in online learning. Basically, with our ebooks, we have two different kinds, and they're either in databases that we subscribe to, and that's an annual subscription, same as if we were subscribing to a research journal. But in this case, it's a database that has a number of ebooks in it. And so we pay the subscription every year. We continue to have access to the collection of ebooks. The collection of ebooks, however, is put together by the database vendor. So we can't make individual selections for titles. Generally, though, these titles that are in the database can be used by multiple users simultaneously, and that's very useful in a classroom environment. So if there's one particular ebook that happens to be in this database that you want all of your students in class to read, all of them can simultaneously access the book. But generally, what we've been building in our collections are ebooks that we can purchase individually, and these typically only allow a single user at a time. But I'll go into some more detail about what those ebooks are and why they have a single user license as opposed to multiple user. But first of all, you know, I just want to kind of bring up the topic of ebooks in general. You know, whether they would be appropriate for students. You know, why would you want to choose an ebook over a print book? And you know, because you know, when you mention ebooks, and ebooks, I think it was about 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago, that it became a really hot topic, and it's around that time, 2001, that the CSU acquired started a pilot project for ebook collections. It was a system-wide project. And at that time is when the first dedicated ebook readers became available. But there was a lot of, I guess, skepticism among, people in academic institutions, how useful these things were. I mean, who would want to sit at a computer and read a book? And since that time, a lot of time has passed. But generally, the studies that are being published about, user preference, users still generally, prefer to have a print book. And there's one recent study that I can recommend, and you'll have to Google this. But if you Google, it's very simple, Academic eBook Usage Survey. That's Academic eBook Usage Survey. The first result should be a study done by the University of California Libraries. Recently produced, I guess it was May 2011. Very detailed survey. And generally, they break it down. One of the things they do is they break it down in different groups of people. Certain groups, postdoctorate users, they are the group that prefers ebooks over print. And my guess is that probably they do the most reading, so they have a lot of material that they go through. Generally, undergraduates don't, but from my experience, and this is a big change that I've noticed working at the reference desk, nowadays, 2012, we're all accustomed to clicking through links and bringing up information, especially, journal articles. And I see that at the reference desk when I'm helping a student use the online catalog. And we find a record for a book in the catalog, and they ask me, okay, well, where's the link to the book? And I've had this happen, more than once, and I used to never, see that. But then you explain, well, it's an actual print book, and I explain what the call number is and, where to go in the library and find the book on the shelf. But like I say, that's something that's happened more than once this semester, and just the limited time that I work on the reference desk. So I think students are expecting it, but really the real advantage that I see, and this is something that happens a lot. There will be an assignment that a class is given, and the entire class is given this one assignment. And the library has a number of books on this particular topic that's been assigned. But by the time the student comes to the reference desk looking for the books, they've all been checked out. And so individuals in their class got the books, but that's the only person who can use it. And so you wonder, okay, why doesn't the professor put the book on reserve? Because we do have print reserve. And many professors do use it. And when I see it, I'm very grateful, because of course our job is to connect the users with the information, and we very happily send them down to the reserve bookshelf where they can, get a copy of this book to use. But even that's limited because only one person can use that book at a time. The library has to be open at the time that the student needs the book. So there are limitations there. With ebooks, on the other hand, in particular, multiple user ebooks, all of the students can use the book at one time. And so it might not be the preferred format, but when you're an undergraduate and you've been given an assignment, and your main interest is to complete that assignment, which may be due in a week, and then you want to move on to the next assignment, I think, a lot of them would be willing to take an ebook if that meant that, they could have access to it rather than have the book checked out. Or being used in reserve. So there is a very powerful reason for wanting to collect ebooks, in particular the multi-user ones. For all of the ebooks we have, and again, we have some that are in databases, and those are pre-selected collections. Jodi's going to go through all of the different kind of ebook platforms we have, but there are two in particular that we have. And has everyone gotten one of the handouts? Okay, we have handouts in the back, and basically it just lists at the top the different vendors that we have, the different ebook platforms, and then there are a lot of details about each of these platforms. How do you find the books in the catalog? How many simultaneous users are allowed? Can you download the ebook? Those kinds of things. But the two I want to draw your attention to are eBrary and EBSCO. And those are our ebook vendors from which we can buy individual titles. And I have to explain why this is relevant information. We oftentimes get order requests in collection management, requests that come from professors who are asking us to acquire an ebook. And it's very common that the ebook that they want is an ebook that we can't purchase for the library. And the reason is many ebooks, in fact, probably most of them that are out there, are intended for individual users. That is, they have an individual user license. So you sell the book to that one individual, and they typically access it using a password. But they're the only ones who can use it. They can't share it with anybody else, and certainly a library can't purchase that individual copy and then share the password. And so we can't purchase those books. But what we do have is we have vendors, and EBSCO and eBrary are our two ebook vendors. And usually what happens, how you become a customer for an ebook vendor, is it usually involves a number of different things. Primarily, there is an annual fee involved. So for eBrary, for example, we can purchase individual titles from them, same as we can with print books. But in order to continue to access these books that we purchase from them year after year, we have to pay an annual fee, and it's generally a small fee. It starts out about $600 a year, and it goes up to just a bit over $1,000 for, depending on how big your collection is. But the idea behind this annual fee is it's kind of a maintenance thing, and they're able to, keep their machines running so that you can continue to access your ebooks. And that's common. EBSCO, on the other hand, they don't charge this annual fee, so they're actually relatively new in ebooks, and I think this is one of the things that they're doing to attract customers. No annual fee. But so when we get a request for an ebook, basically it has to be available from one of these two vendors, and but what does that mean to you? Generally, the only thing you need to know is that if you intend to use an ebook in one of your classes, that is, you have a text that you want. Well, I don't want to say textbook. That's a different universe. These, but a monograph. That's librarian speak. If you want to use a book, to assign to your students to read, the simplest thing to do is contact your subject librarian, and just ask them, is this book available in ebook form, and let them find out. And basically what they'll do is they'll see if it's available from either EBSCO or eBrary, and then let you know what the price is. Now, if you're wondering who your subject librarian is, generally the way the academic departments communicate with the library is the library has subject librarians, and so librarians are assigned to different academic departments on campus. In the academic departments, there's something called a person called a book chair, and they're kind of the liaison between the library and that department. And generally the way it works is when you request something, it goes through your book chair, they communicate it to the subject librarian. But the arrangement between the subject librarian and the academic department varies between the department. It's kind of worked out between the librarian and the department, how they communicate. But if you want to know who your subject librarian is, you just go to the library's homepage and find this section, Library Services, and for faculty, so Library Services for faculty, and click there, and this will list all of the services we have for faculty, including, ordering library materials. And at the bottom here, you'll see the subject librarians. So these are the subject librarians. So if there's a book that you want your students to read, just send the subject librarian an email. Can I get this book in ebook form? And that's the simplest way to go about doing it. If you want to do some searching on your own, eBrary has on their website, they allow anyone to go in and search, their collection of ebooks. So it's you just go to ebrary.com, and this is just their corporate homepage, and they have this search prompt here: search all ebooks. So let's just search water resource management, which is kind of a hot topic on campus this year. And then it will retrieve all of the ebooks that they have available, including the prices. But let me get rid of this. But what you'll want to notice, let me scroll down and find an example, is this. I just want to highlight this one record. This one right here, World Water Crisis. Over here on the side, they have the prices, and you'll notice they have single user price. I hope that's visible to everyone. And then they have multi-user price. So it's really that multi-user that you're looking for. You'll notice that not all of them offer multi-user. Some publishers don't want to sell multi-user licenses for ebooks. They just want one user at a time. If that isn't enough, they want you to buy another single user and buy multiple copies. But other publishers, they'll have a higher price for multi-user. So what the library is offering teaching faculty on campus is they will purchase these multi-user licenses if the faculty member needs one to teach a class. So in other words, you might want this particular book, World Water Crisis. You might want all of your students to read it. A multi-user license is available. The library will pay for that multi-user license. And this is a new thing that we've started. And we're promoting it, whatever opportunity we have. And we'll have to see how it goes, as far as, what kind of financial burden is placed on the library to do this. Yes, question?
Okay,
Yes.
so on the multi-user, is there a limit on the top end? I'm thinking in some classes there might be 25, but in another class there might be 50, so.
Right. Yeah, the
Have you
question
come
is
across
how multi-user is
Yeah.
multi-user?
Right.
Like, is there a limit to how many can
Yeah.
actually, and the answer is no. Multi-user is unlimited simultaneous users. I mean, they may have a number like 999 or something like that, but multi-user is generally, everyone can use it.
The cost difference
The cost
pretty
is-
incredible. I'm
it's-
just thinking,
The price per book, I mean, when we order books, they're generally $50, $80, an academic book. And so the prices are higher, but when you consider, the cost savings for students and the use that you get out of it, it's very economical. Yes, another question.
And these are perpetual ownership once you buy
Perpetual ownership once you buy them, as long as we pay that annual fee.
And I was going to say, it's an annual fee, though.
Right, it's not a prohibitively expensive annual fee, though, but it is an annual fee, and so we want to limit the number of ebook vendors we have. We try to and these ebook vendors we have, by the way, eBrary and EBSCO, they're the major ebook vendors. So if there's an academic book available in ebook format, it's going to be hosted by one of these two vendors. So, yes, another
Can
question.
you go through how that checkout and return works for an ebook? I'm not.
That's
I'll
what
go into
Jody's
that.
going
Okay,
to get
cool,
into.
great.
So the EBSCO, they don't offer easily searchable interface. They have it, but everyone has to have an individual user login. Jody and I were just talking about this yesterday, that we think we have a plan to allow departments to have a search-only account for our book vendors database. We have one major book vendor, and this is a book vendor that serves most academic libraries in the country. It's called Yankee Book Peddler. They have their own database. They profile academic books. They're constantly adding titles into this database. And we think that we can set it up to where each department will have their own login, so they can go in and just see what's available, and then also go in and see if a book is available in ebook format and if there's a multi-user license available, so that you can request specifically that multi-user for your class. So that's what I wanted to share about our ebooks and how we acquire them and the licenses and things. And so now I want to turn it over to Jody Shepherd, and she will explain the details of each of the different platforms.
All right, thanks for coming, by the way. I've been living ebooks for about 2 years now, so it's kind of what I dream about at night. So my name's Jody Shepherd, and before I get into the nitty-gritty details of how to access books and things like that, I also kind of want to talk about the CSU level of ebooks. What Marc was talking about is mostly our local level, what we're doing here at Chico, but CSU as a whole, since ebooks don't have to go to a specific library and sit on a specific shelf, we can share them, right, across the consortium, the 23 universities. So a lot of programs are kind of getting in, or a lot of consortiums are getting into this. There's a big one. Orbis Cascade is Pacific Northwest Libraries, both Oregon and Washington. They're a big one. There's some in the Northeast. Ohio, I think, has one. So CSU has gotten into this sharing ebooks across the system. And starting September of last year, we did a pilot, and then last spring we did a second pilot. They're both listed here, the EBL and the CUTS. Those two were CSU-wide pilot programs, and the Chancellor's Office had $60,000 per pilot, and it was a patron-driven, which is a little bit different than what Marc has been talking about, meaning we put thousands of records in our catalogs that were unpurchased, and as students use them, as students search our catalog and use them, then they were purchased, either for a short-term fee or a third use was the full purchase. So we have completed those two pilots, and we ended up with about 179 books from CUTS, and 280 books from CUTS and 179 books from EBL. Just a difference on pricing models, publishers. If you want to discuss publishers further, it will take me hours to talk about everything, how wonderful publishers are. But basically, what it means is every CSU student across the consortium has access to those books that we've purchased as a system. It costs us more as a system with our agreements because we're paying for about 400,000 people to have access to the same book. But overall, instead of Chico buying the book and Humboldt buying the book and Long Beach buying the book, we're now sharing the book. And so overall, it's going to cost us less money because we're sharing. We're still looking into that. We're also looking into large ebook purchases across the CSU system. So instead of just Chico buying into a database package, the whole consortium is buying that. Some of the other ones, the Safari is similar to that. That is provided by the Chancellor's Office. So that one is a book, ebook. Is ACLS for the Chancellor's Office too? It's kind of weird.
It's a subscription through the Chancellor's Office.
Yeah, it's semi-Chancellor's Office. We get a discount, I think, off that one. So we're looking at a lot of different ebook packages, and that's why on your chart we have so many different vendors. For Chico locally, though, we don't pay a hosting fee for, say, EBL and CUTS, because that's paid for at the Chancellor's level. But they still are paying an annual hosting fee for the whole CSU. So there's a lot of background things happening. What I wanted to present was, we've bought these books, we have these books, how do we get to the books? What does it mean? What does it mean for your students? So if I go to, I'm going to close this page, I'm going to go to the library's homepage. I'll go back to my freshman classes. Does everybody know how to get to the library's homepage? Yes? Okay. So I'm going to go into the library catalog, and this is where we put all of our books, and we're putting our ebooks as well. So there's a couple of different ways to search. You can search just using one of the vendor terms, so eBrary, EBL, CUTS, if you want to see what's available from that vendor. When I put in eBrary, you'll see that it's locations, online books. So all of these are books from eBrary. If you wanted to, that we've purchased that are in our catalog that your students can access, all that good stuff. If you wanted to find what we had on eBrary and, so let's say social media or something like that. Now I put a keyword term with the term eBrary, and these are all the books that we have that are from eBrary, the vendor, on social, something. So it has the term social in it somewhere. We're not searching the full book. We are only searching the record. So if you open up the record, it has the term social in here, and our series is eBrary. So that's how you can tell that it's that company. Once you start playing with ebooks, I'm going to go ahead and open up this link. You'll notice the differences. The main difference is what they look like, how they're presented. Every vendor has a different way of presenting their books, what they think is the best after the studies they've done. They all have different features. I've tried to outline the most important features on this page. We are really going heavily into eBrary for Chico, so I wanted to make sure that we do see this one. This is the book here. I can start going through pages here. I can also download, but I need to be signed in. So every student or person using an ebook would have to create an account that they have just with eBrary that allows them to download and sign in. eBrary also does some cool things with like highlighting, which I'd also have to be signed in for, but if I was reading this book and I wanted to highlight this chapter, if I was signed in, then I could highlight this and make a note, and then it would be there for the next time I logged in. So you could continue to use that. Once you have a sign-in, you also have a bookshelf. Let me just go ahead and sign in. Is it right? No. Oh, and now you just saw my password. Is it going to be right? Oh, I just wrote it down the other day to remember, and now I'm not remembering. Oh, okay, I'm not going to keep doing that. But once you have your bookmark, now I can't get back there. Once you have you're signed in, you can highlight, you can download. There's another one. And it will save in your bookshelf every time. The other thing that you are able to do in eBrary is to open up a reader. They have their own reader that it makes the screen look more like a book, so it takes a little while for it to open though, instead of going page by page like this. So with eBrary, we do have some single user books. So when I'm in this book and it's open like it is right now, another student who's trying to open the book could get a note that says it's not available until, and it puts you on a waiting list, and it will notify that student when that book comes available. We are moving to the multiple book access direction, and you'll see on your piece of paper it says starting in November 2012, we're going to go more multi-user with eBrary, especially when faculty request it. And we can watch the logs to see if some people have been put on a waiting list too many times, for example. Then we can upgrade to the multi-user as well. But for right now, some of our eBrary are single use. So when I'm in this book, if somebody else came to look at it, it would say that it's being used, and they'd have to wait. Yes?
When your students are signing in, are they signing in first? They're going to sign in through the proxy from off campus to get to the books, and then they're going to have a separate eBrary sign-in to get into the book?
Only if they're off campus will they have to sign in
Twice or once?
to the proxy. They do not have to sign in order to read the book. They only have to sign in if they were taking notes or if they wanted to download it.
Is it the same as their CSU sign-in? Or is
They create it themselves with eBrary. It's whatever they want it to be. Yeah, it would be easier if mine was CSU. I might remember it then.
So
If
Jodi,
they did- yes.
Sorry. It looks like you're logged in at Chico State and you went to the library site and went to this eBrary search. And so you can just read any of the books there without like checking them out or having to log in. I mean, so because it looks like you're kind of reading the book right here.
Yes, it's the full text of the book. So I'm on campus. All I have to do is click the link from the catalog, and I've opened the book, and it's ready to read. If I was off campus, when I clicked this link, I would be directed to the proxy. I'd have to put my username and portal in, and then the book would open just like this. And as far as proxies go, what we're recommending that if you wanted to link these books in your course material so that students can get directed to the right place, either through the proxy or not, on or off campus, if you just link to this catalog record. So down here is a permanent link to this record. I can just copy this link and put it wherever I want. That directs the student to this record, and we take care of all the proxy things that have to go on behind the scenes. So when they come to this record, they would just click this link, and we would either send them through the proxy if they were off campus, or they would just open it like I just did on campus.
So there's really no checkout. I mean,
The computer knows you're using it right now,
sure.
but that's all.
Unless you download.
Yeah, download, well, kind of. I'll get to that in a second. There was a question.
If you are in that section, how do you search in that section?
You can search up here. It searches the book. You can.
No, I mean, if you got into into eBrary, and I
Uh-huh.
can't figure out how you then search for particular titles.
Oh, for new titles from eBrary?
For any particular title, because they just, doesn't just pop up as a list of titles?
Well,
Maybe I'm not asking the right
so
question.
if I go back to the library's homepage and then click the library catalog,
Mhm.
if I knew I wanted to do an eBrary book,
Mhm.
I would do eBrary and English.
Okay, so then.
And
you-
then that would bring up all the eBrary books that we own that have English in it. You, over here, if you search, is it searching all eBrary, I think?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. This is all eBrary books. This is not the ones we own. But in our catalog are the ones that we own
Okay.
for eBrary. And this can be applied to any of our vendors that you see here. Now I see EBL in English.
Can you type in online books there and get a list of, irrespective of the vendors?
Sort of. You can do ebook or online book. You can also sort of do English online resources but you get online theses as well as online books, which is theses are fine if you are okay with them. We are working on having an ebook drop down so that you could search ebook instead. So we're trying to figure out, it just is because we've had our catalog for a very long time, ebooks weren't really there. Now ebooks are a thing, we're adding more. So we're trying to work to catalog this better. And Marc, you search by just going by,
I searched entire collection.
and ebook.
Well, I would put in the vendor's name.
Yeah.
Because you know that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, until we get the ebook drop down, though.
So, this is fascinating, and I think, my goodness, I like knowing the link. I'm real curious now about what that Google Preview means. It's showing up on some books and not others.
Yeah, if it's available in Google Preview, we have also linked it there. This is useful. Where is it here? It's usually on this page too.
Hope I had to ask. But what that means is the book is available, it's showing up that it's available, it's online, but it is also available. So the same process you just demonstrated would work. It just takes you to Google. It's
Yeah.
so that you can go in through Google as well, because I'm thinking of their mail CSU Chico account, that's Google, so they could go in that way.
Yeah.
It's preview, though.
It's a preview. It's not if the whole book was there, it would be there, but it's just the preview part of it. This is really set up for our print books more than our ebooks because
Okay.
students, if a book is checked out and it's in print, then students can look at this and get a partial bit of the information that they
Right.
need. Students also use it because they don't want to walk up to the third floor to see if they actually like the book, and they'll preview it here before they determine if it's useful or not. So it serves two purposes. Either it's checked out or they want to look at it first.
But the ones that you demonstrated where they just say they're online, the other way, the whole book's
It's
there.
the
It's not
whole
just
book.
Well, that's good to know, because you get some students that just want that preview.
It's just like we had purchased it for the library. We just did it in ebook instead of in print. Was there another question?
So are these all relatively new books?
They
So
are.
we don't have ebooks that are, say, 40 years old?
It's called Google. No. No, we could. There are some books that are going back retrospectively. We are looking at more current books. The Google thing with all the universities that they're going back retrospectively and doing all the out-of-date books. So there are some, but mostly they're new ones that are being published.
You index Google's holdings in your catalog to index your holdings in your catalog.
We index our holdings, and if Google happens to have it, that preview shows up.
How did you do that?
It's a code that somebody created somewhere. Download.
So, yes, so if
Yes.
I download, how long does that last?
I'm going to go to one. So this is eBrary. I'm going to go to this other record. It's actually an EBL record. You'll see that it's the second column here. So it's going to look a little bit different. This was done for the whole CSU system. And so their requirement is that every student logs on, whether they're on campus or off, which is good and bad. So I have to know that I'm at Chico. Librarians argue that students wouldn't know which university they were at, but we haven't really had a problem with this yet. So now I know I'm at Chico, and I can just log on. So every student will have to go through this proxy. Why this is good? Because now, when I open this up, I have no problems downloading. I'm already logged in. So I'm going to download this book. I just have to go here to download. My formats are available in PDF. Sometimes they're in EPUB. And I can download it. So this would I would download it to this computer right here. And then if I had it on my laptop, it would download it to my laptop. I can also download it to my iPad if I opened it up on my iPad, went through the Blue Fire app. Are you familiar with that app?
No.
It's the one that's instead of Adobe Digital Editions, because Adobe and Apple don't like each other, right? Then it's called the Blue Reader app, Blue Fire app. It's on your piece of paper.
Oh, good.
It says right here. You just have to download that app, and then this connects to that, and it's available in your app or on your computer. This one is a 7-day download. After 7 days, it gets returned to the library. You don't have to do anything. It just disappears. You can go back in, and since you've been signed in, it will see your bookshelf, so you can see which books you checked out if you want to download it again for another 7 days. eBrary allows you to choose a 1 to 7 day download. Since we have some single users with that, so let's say I went in and downloaded a book for 2 days. For 2 days then, if another user came to try to use that book, because if we have some single users, then they would say you have to wait until that user is done with it. And it's automatically returned after 2 days as well. So the multi-user. For the CSU-wide ones, we had to go with multi-use. There's no way we can serve 400,000 patrons and not have multi-use. It was just not possible. So both the COOTS and the EBL are completely multi-use and don't have that problem. COOTS, though, is completely unlimited use, but you can't download. That's how they got their publishers to sign on as an agreement. They all had little tricks. So technically, behind the scenes, we have a limit of how many users CSU-wide, but you guys don't have to worry about that. Am I totally confusing you all yet?
It's just amazing how fast things are changing, though, isn't it?
Yes. So here's my EBL book. It's ready to go, full text. Print, copy, download it, read aloud. So once students open it, I think they're trying to make them very intuitive, so that they're easy for us to use, and they should be easy for students to use as well. So for example, a faculty could say, link to the catalog record for this book and say, read the chapter. Oh, sure, I did the German one, didn't I? The text of the philosophy Untersuchung. Okay. All right. The two on the end, the Safari and the ACLS books, are a little bit different. We have them in our catalog, but we also have them under databases A to Z. So you can go straight into Safari. And these, he was asking about older books. Some of these are a little bit older, 2000, 2001. And I can search the entire site. I think Safari started as technical books more, but they've branched out. So you can search for your topic. Let's do education.
Jody, how did you get there again?
I was on the library's homepage,
Okay.
and then I went to databases A to Z,
All right. That's what I missed. Okay, thanks.
and then I was under S for Safari.
Yep, got it.
And so these are actually searching within these books. So this is actually the chapter of job interviews. Oh, for dummies, that's a good choice. Digital design, education. There, that's a better one. And here I go, start reading. These are also unlimited. They won't tell you if multi-user. And here's the book. Safari you can't download as well. You can email you can email the link, and you can print some pages. I think they had a limit though. I think there was a limit on how many pages you could print from here though.
Says single pages.
Right, that was the limit. Now I'm remembering. So you can only print this one page that you see at a time, which I would guess would prevent some people from wanting to go page by page to print it out. But you could also, I can also search for this title in the catalog. So I'm going to go back to the library's catalog. Why does it do that? Does anybody know? Why I can't copy and paste sometimes?
So you can, they're kind of, you can use one to help you get to the other back and forth.
Right, but if I found digital design for print and web in the catalog, then I could link the catalog record for the student.
Right.
There it is. So this link here in the catalog would be a good link for me to provide to my students so they could log into the book. And then the other one that we have on our list is the Humanities Books, and that's also a database under ACLS. It's a little bit different. This one is actually done by University of Michigan. That's who's doing it, right? And they're selecting the books themselves to add to this collection, and they've been adding for years. And so you can search or you can browse. I found it easy to search by subject. So you could browse their vocabulary here to determine the books that they have. And then once you get here, I view the table of contents, and then you can link or you can open up the sections. So here's the book. It's pretty, the content's there, and it has great literature in it. It's not quite as user-friendly as some of the newer e-readers, but it does have the content. And these are also available in the catalog, so I could, again, find the catalog record and put this link in so that you know your student is being directly sent to the right place.
So I have a question, Jody,
Yes.
just to kind of summarize. On the eBrary and the EBSCO, you can search through the books. Safari and ACLS you can do through the A to Z database. EBL and Coots was...
Yeah, so underneath, don't know if this was, so see where it says searching, and then it has the first box, and then the second one, it says Meriam Library Catalog, use keyword and online sources. So everything from eBrary to Safari, you can search in the catalog using...
Oh, I was coming in the other way. I was trying to...
Yeah, so everything in the catalog, you could use the vendor.
Back page.
You can use the vendor, Coots, for example, and let's see if there's anything on history. It sometimes doesn't like Coots. There, I changed it to online resources, and now I've come up with my online books.
Well, that's helpful. The reason I asked it was on me. I was looking on the other side. I didn't know which side was front and back.
Oh, okay.
So got it.
Yep. And here's one from Coots. And all the content is there. So they're all multi-user, simultaneous use. And believe me, CSU wide, it's a problem if we have 250 people trying to use a book. So we're really looking at making sure that we have that access If you
When
Same class.
and they log in, I'm wondering, by having everybody log in, you can track the numbers of,
Oh, yes.
so that you can say, well, they're really hot and heavy on this book, and
Yeah,
so
and you can
much
tell
on
what,
this.
what campus and what time and everything like that.
Oh,
So
you get trending patterns, what's trending at 2 a.m.
yeah, right. What's exciting then?
And all your vendors, can you highlight, make notes?
No, you can't. And I went through to try to figure out which ones did that the best. eBrary and EBL and Coots were the ones with notes, and only eBrary could you highlight.
Because it seems like that's actually just a scan PDF, whereas other of them are a little more interactive. At least some of the textbooks I've seen that are online actually have hotspots on the pages themselves, where that's just a scanned picture of the thing, right?
Right.
So-
Well, I don't know if this one it does look like. Sometimes they're not. Let's see what. Where's it going? It's not letting me click anymore. Yeah. There's not like the ability, like in a Kindle or something, to highlight the word. Some of them are doing that, where you could highlight the word and then go to a dictionary or something like that. Like this one. Search library. Sort of is. EBL and eBrary are much more advanced than Coots is, and EBSCO's getting there. So, for example, I highlighted that term effort and said search in Google, and now it links me to Google to tell me what efforts means. But we aren't really seeing a lot of hyperlinks or stuff like that in monographs as much still. It's still more academic writing. Seems like there's one that has a dictionary. It might be EBL. That has there's a define. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, links to Meriam. Sort of, it linked to Meriam dictionary.
There's ads, you gotta kind of scroll down.
Oh, we love ads.
But those really are just pictures of the page. You can't change the text size on a page like you can in some of the more interactive readers.
Well, you can.
It's just going to blow up the whole page, right?
Right.
I mean, it doesn't repaginate based
Right.
on, a larger font size or something like on some of the other readers.
The eBrary reader is a little bit more advanced. It's not installed on this computer. I have it installed on my computer in my office, and it has some more advanced features like that. Anything that you download, like if you downloaded a chapter, which eBrary you can download page ranges. So let's say you downloaded 20 pages and it's a PDF. Technically, you could send it to your Kindle, and then you could have it just as a PDF there. So then it would go to wherever you want. So.
I know we're almost out of time. This is related to the ebooks, but when you mentioned Kindle, it's a question I've been wondering about a long time. I know you have Kindles for checkout.
We do.
And how do you manage the books on that?
Very.
Or how many,
I just wrote an article on this. Do you want to know?
Because when you first started, you had 5 Kindles.
We had 6, and then one died.
Okay.
And
so
then
there's
we had 5, and then they came back. So now we have 6 again. At first, we were putting librarian-selected titles on them and patron-selected, and the management of it kind of got overwhelming, as well as how many books were on the Kindles. And now we've just gone to patron-requested. As of June-ish, we had about 90 titles, something like that. Went from 75 in 2011 to about 90 now. And they are managed, once they're submitted by a patron, they're sent to acquisitions. They approve them, they go into Amazon, purchase the book. Then our computer person, Pat Berry, is contacted that that's available, and we have a management program called Calibre
Oh, yeah.
that he logs into and then downloads the book to each individual
So
Kindle.
all 5 Kindles are the same.
They're all the same. And then the circulation plugs in the Kindle and loads all the books every time a new Kindle comes in to reset the.
That answers my question. I wondered, so you're up to 90 books, and those Kindles hold
40,000.
yeah, 3,000, something like that.
Yeah.
So
it's
you're
just-
fine. You're fine on that, but it's more patron.
It's all patron selected. I don't think we have a new popular books person. She wasn't really interested in doing titles for that, I don't think.
Well, we stopped.
We stopped, yeah.
It's just requests now.
Yeah. But
Because so many people are getting their own.
yeah, they are. Interesting enough, when I ran the statistics, 75% of our checkouts in 2011 were staff and faculty. Only 15% were students. So tell your students, because we need student statistics on that as well. So, all right. Well, you can contact me or Marc if you have.
Great. This is really informative. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming, guys.
Yeah. And if you ever get any questions in TLP, let us know.